Hello, I have noticed something very interesting. You know, I don't know whether people know, but when you're getting older, you get bruised a lot easier. I have been, since I was probably about 65, 70, uh, I have been bruised quite easily. Like if I poke something into the ground, then my hand would show a bruise, and it was quite painful for, maybe 5 minutes or so. And I just accepted that that was the way it was. And I forgot about it. And lately, about 2 or 3 days ago, I suddenly realized that I didn't get bruised anymore, no matter what I do, because I do a lot of manual work. And I was so amazed. I couldn't believe it first that I show no more bruising. And the only way I can explain it is it's either it started with the V6, but most likely it started with the touch. And I think that's absolutely fantastic. I'm now over 85 and no more bruising.
Um, with the crutch, I've noticed that my gray hairs are going. I mean, I have a few left, but not like I did before, which I'm very happy. I don't have to dye my hair anymore. But I've noticed my skin the same too. It's a lot thicker, I think. It's not as thin anymore. I don't bruise like I used to. I used to just touch something and I bruise really bad, but I don't do that anymore. And I've noticed my complexion is a lot clearer. And I too went to the beach with my sister-in-law, which I didn't want to do because of the sun. But somebody was playing volleyball out there, and I went out there and played volleyball. I did not get tired. I was not out of breath. I mean, was just. And my sister-in-law said, "You better stop. You're going to get a heat stroke." I said, "But I'm having so much fun." So I was excited about having to play. I hadn't played in I don't know how long. I mean, it's been years and years, and I was just tickled pink that I could do that. So that was very amazing for me. So I had a very good weekend.
I used to tear my skin all the time when I was out working in the yard, the roses and what have you, and I'd just be a mess when I got back. I don't have that anymore. My skin is thicker, very seldom get bruised, not tearing my skin at all anymore. That was really great. One of the things I haven't mentioned because I sit there and wait, well, is this really true? But my blood pressure has been much lower than it has been in the past. And I'm really excited about that. So it's been over a week. It's been about 10 days and it's staying down. At one time, my right leg would swell, and it's been this way for many, many years. It's not a problem. It's not giving me any problem. But at the end of the day, it's the right leg that swells from the knee down. And I'm not having that anymore. The other thing was my left ankle. Many years ago, 1983, I tore all the ligaments in the outside of my left ankle. And the doctors told me it would never heal, of course, because they don't know how to do that. And for a long time, I wore high top tennis shoes or a brace, one or the other, in order to be able to walk anywhere. And then I discovered energy medicine, and my ankle got much, much better. And then I did it again. I fell on my ranch and tore it again. And that was during the time just before I got the V6. And I was using the V6 on it, and it was really healing up very, very nicely. But then along came this wonderful Qvibz, and I am not having even any swelling in that ankle now, which is wonderful. And I can go barefoot all the time now. So it's great. That's what I have for the week.
I used to get cramps in both legs. since I was a teenager, every single night, and sometimes up to 4 times a night, really bad ones. Some of them would be so bad I'd scream out at night. When I was a teenager, my dad used to come in and pull my leg, push my foot up to pull the cramp out. Well, I don't get cramps like that anymore, but I do still get mini cramps, but not every night anymore since the touch. They've really died off quite a bit, and I don't get such painful cramps. They're very minute, and I can just push them out myself very quickly. So they only last probably about 5 seconds now. And like I said, it's not every night. So that's a big one for me, very big one for me. And my toes, I've got no more numbness in my left side of my toes. And I've got a fraction, probably 1% in the tips of my toes on my right side, which was the worst side that I had numbness in. Every toe, full toes on the right side. And my feet, I've always had freezing feet. Like the last 2 days, I haven't. They've been warm when I've woken up in the morning. So 2 really good things for me, super duper.
The one thing that I wanted to say I'm very, very grateful about is last May, I hurt my back really, really bad. I couldn't, and I mean, I was in a pain of 10 plus, just hardly able to move. I finally was able to get an epidural in June. And then they told me it'd be 3 months, 2 or 3 months. Well, I came back, was able to wait till 4 months. So I went back in November and they said, you know, make another appointment. Well, I made one for March, didn't need it. And I have one for April, don't need it. So this has been incredible for considering how bad the pain was and how far I've come with this. It's just, I'm amazed at how well I'm doing and not needing to go back for any more chemicals in my body. I'm very, very grateful I don't get those because they were just crippling. But if I should get one, I'll take one of my touches and my devices and put it on the cramp, and it seems to relieve that too. So I'm very grateful for that.
I just came back from doing a service to a women's group. We had a group of men serving the women at a retreat. And part of it was we go to chapel and turn around. She was amazed. She thought they had a room full of men. We were just moving on key. Then we went and formed up into the choir, and we formed a circle around the room. And it was just amazing. And with 3 other guys, we formed a corps. And I kind of felt like it was one of those Pavarotti things. It was all on key, everybody in total agreement. And we were doing volume. So it wasn't just, okay, I'm here. It was like, whoa, like, I just came back so enthused. Just enjoyment of it.
I've had some apprehension about traveling and just kind of nervous and uptight. But this trip, I was not. I had to drive a couple of hours from the airport to Sedona. And I just kind of moved through everything. Now, granted, once I got into Sedona and it hit the vortexes, I was getting electrical charges like way beyond what you would get like on one of those old buzzer things, you know, with the pinky, you know what I'm talking about, from my leg. So the electricity was coming out of my leg. And then when I went to the market, even though I was holding on to the plastic on the shopping cart, the left hand was doing the same thing. Like if it was dark, you probably could have seen the sparks coming off of my left side. So you're right. The electrolyte thing was really important as the recovering empath that I am, and reworking all of how I how I perceive the world in a new and better way. My energies were going like this because, being around all of these really cool, like-minded people from all over the world and being in the vortexes and being in like, wow, I want to feel this way all the time. And can I take it home? And all the people, which I couldn't. So I came home and I actually am now buying the water at the health food store, the reverse osmosis water, because when I went to Sedona, my stomach started to straighten out. And I was like, it must be the water I'm drinking at home too. So those things added together. Yeah. So energy's a lot better, nervous system, so much calmer, coming back saying, I'm going to be able to travel anywhere without a hitch like I used to. And I feel like I'm starting to feel like I was 30 years old again with the wisdom of a 64-year-old. How's that? But the inner joy of the inner child that's 64, not 24. Does that make sense? I've done the work and now I got the little girl back.
Weird thing last night. I don't know why. Yesterday I was kind of binging movies for some weird reason. And I had watched a kind of a scary movie. And I was about 11 o'clock, and usually I'm in bed by like 9:30, but I don't know, started watching this scary movie, and it wasn't scary at first, but it progressively got kind of weird. And I don't know why it made me scared. Like I usually don't get scared but it just kind of freaked me out for some weird reason. And so I got up and I just had this eerie feeling, and my husband's sleeping, and I'm like, so I got up and got a drink of water. I thought, okay, this will pass. And I thought, I'm going to do my touch. And I got my touch going, and it was weird. It just fixed me. It got rid of that fear, and it put me right to sleep.
My sister, she's been dealing with the episode where the doctors kept saying she was asthmatic. And I kept telling them she wasn't. I could tell the difference if she was, because when I was younger, I had it. And recently it discovered that it was a lot of mucus through her nose. But then I discovered it was only coming when she ate something she wasn't supposed to. So I started making adjustments with the device based on her, because the touch, when she was going through this episode, I can hand her the touch and it was gone in like 5 minutes. To the extent that she keeps on asking for it, but comes to find out there was an issue with her gut. And that's where the mucus was coming from. It was actually gagging her. But as soon as I bring the touch to her, she calmed down and everything was settled, and it would dry up just like that. And I have never seen anything do that. I mean, like that. So within a 10-minute window, she was back to normal. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. But before that, crying where mucus was coming from her nose and her mouth. So now we're just working on the gut. But yeah, and then I don't let anyone bring her any food anymore. But I wanted to say that because this has been going on from my point of her going, can't get things out of her throat. And I'm going to say 15 years that I know. But my niece says it's been going on almost all her life because she can remember. And we're like 5 years apart. But she said as a teenager, her mom was doing the same thing. We're talking about cleaned it up like that. So if there's when she calls me and says something wrong, I just pick up the touch and walk her in her room and sit it on the bed. And it clears it up and she goes back to sleep.